Hello, everyone. Today, I'll be talking about a topic very close to my heart: climate change. As a member of Gen Z, my generation and future generations to come are the ones who are going to face the direct consequences of climate change. This is why I want to talk to you about this topic today. Today, my talk is primarily related to climate change's impact on Canada and will be grouped into three parts: current status, Canada's future if we continue going down this path, and what we could do to minimize this impact. Before I go to the top, I want to share a poem by Margaret Atwood, which is very relevant to the topic, called The Moment. The moment when, after many years of hard work and a long voyage, you stand in the center of your room, house, half acre, square mile, island, country, knowing at last how you got there, and say, I own this. It's the same moment when the trees unloose their soft arms from around you, the birds take back their language, the cliffs fissure and collapse, the air moves back from you like a wave, and you can't breathe. No, they whisper, you own nothing. You were a visitor, time after time, climbing the hill, planting the flag, proclaiming, we never belonged to you. You never found us. It was always the other way around. An eye-opening poem, right? In this poem, Margaret Atwood challenges the idea that humans are entitled to own and dominate nature. So now let's start off with where we are at currently. The Canadian Climate Change Report, released a couple years ago, provided the first in-depth standalone assessment that confirms Canada's climate has warmed in response to global carbon dioxide emissions from human activity. We can see examples of this all across Canada. In July 2018, Montreal experienced 70 heat-related deaths as the city dealt with unusually hot temperatures into the 30s, along with humidity that made it feel closer to 40 degrees Celsius. In 2013, two brief thunderstorms caused widespread flooding in Toronto and brought the downtown core to a standstill. And just this year, there have been numerous wildfires in Alberta, northern Quebec and Ontario, and Nova Scotia that have been out of control and brought hazardous air pollution as far south as New York City, causing the yellow haze to fall on the city. With a warming planet, we can expect to see more events like this. As a quote from Environment Canada's senior climate change expert David Phillips says, people say the world has warmed up by 1 degree Celsius in the last 135 years, but there are parts of Canada that have warmed in some seasons by 4 and 4.5 degrees Celsius in the last 70 years. So, that's enough about what's happening currently. What is going to happen if we continue going on this path that we are right now? So, David Phillips used a model based on a business as usual path. Using the models run by York University, Phillips says people living in Toronto could see 51 days above 30 degrees Celsius by 2050. The current average is 16. While Canadians may be happy at the prospect of warmer weather, that comes with a price. According to an expert from the University of Waterloo, flooding is the most expensive cost in Canada to extreme weather by a country mile, specifically basement flooding. He notes that from 1983 to 2008, the cost of catastrophic insurable events ranged from $250 million to $500 million annually. Since 2009, however, these costs have ballooned up to $1 billion or more in 8 out of 9 years, with $1.8 billion on average. So what can we do to stop this catastrophe from happening? In this section, I'll be talking about different ways you can reduce your impact on climate change. The message is clear. Canada needs to prepare for the future. So what can we do now? The most important things people can do to act on climate change is simple. Something we can all do, starting today. The first thing you could do is talk to people around you. Talk to people about climate change. Talk to your friends, your family, your neighbors. We tend not to do this because we don't like to talk politics with our friends. We love to talk about sports and weather, but it's important to discuss topics like this. The next thing you can do is talk to decision makers. The second most important thing we must do is to act on climate change is get politically active. Whether joining a protest group, writing for MPs, or just making it a core part of how we vote. The third thing you could do is change your car driving habits. We don't all have the luxury of walking everywhere, but vehicles are the most significant compromise to our air. Those tailpipes are at street level, where we can inhale the polluted air directly. Consider a world where you carpool, Uber, walk, or take public transit more often. The fourth thing you could do is notice how you use water. We here in Canada have a lot of water, but we also use a lot of it, and 65% of what we use is in the bathroom. Have shorter showers, don't leave the tap running, and when you're brushing your teeth, buy energy efficient shower heads. It all helps. The fifth thing you could do is reduce the amount of paper you use in your life. Do you know 40% of the world's commercially cut timber is used for paper? This endangers natural habitats and uses a ton of water. Yet since this printing has become so inexpensive, we use paper without thinking about it. At least you think about going paperless. Think about your bank statements, the paper towels you use to clean your countertops, the junk mail you haven't opted out of, and the way you wrap your Christmas presents. There are many ways each of us can reduce our paper usage. The final thing you could do is bag it yourself. Before venturing out on your next shopping trip, make sure you bring some reusable shopping bags with you. Plastic bags are a massive threat to marine life. They're an inconvenience to the environment. Reusable bags are the way to go. So, before we end off, I want to leave you with an old African proverb. If you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. We have to go far quickly. Will you do it?